Assalamu alaikum, and thanks for watching us on Hilaal Live on channel 347. And remember, you could live stream www.hilaal.tv. Now, the world of motorsport racing, I mean, it takes a special breed to be a driver, to be part of the crew, to be a mechanic, to be an owner of a team as well. And as part of the show, over the last couple of weeks, we've included drivers that go, just beyond and push themselves to the limit with regards to becoming a driver of some of these very fast cars. One such driver in studio, I've invited Jess Hugget, who is a legendary motorsport driver. Jess, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
My absolute pleasure. Now, I tell you, I've seen some of the clips that you sent. I've seen some of the photographs over the years as well. But for those of our viewers that don't know about your career, where did this all start? Where did this passion for motor racing start?
It started back in 1967.
Okay.
I went to Goodwood Showgrounds.
Right.
Just outside the showgrounds, they had micro midgets.
Okay.
And, as a youngster, you tag onto a driver.
Uh-huh.
And from there, I helped him a bit. And eventually, they have a club car that they used to give out to a youngster that showed interest.
Okay.
And they spoke to my parents, and they gave me this car.
Mm-hmm.
And I rode that, I think, for 2 years. And then one of the other drivers actually built the car for me.
Okay.
And from there, it just progressed.
So when you say it gave you a car, what type of car was it back then?
It's like a go-kart with a body on it. It's small.
I see. Okay. And what type of engine was back then?
Mine had a scooter engine, Lambretta scooter engine.
And what were the races like back then? I mean, 5 laps, 10 laps?
I think there were about 10 laps each, and probably about 5 races a day or something like that.
Wow, that must have been fascinating. And I would imagine if you look back at what you had to go through compared to what the guys are racing now and the type of endurance they do now as well, it must be so amazing.
It's a big difference. Yeah.
Of course. So since then, you've got involved in various other classes, other cars. Take us through some of your vehicles and some of the highlights of your career.
Yeah, from there I went to stock car racing at Cape Drivers.
Okay.
I started off with a V8 Artron, or sprint car they call them now.
Right.
Did that for a few years, and then for a joke, basically, I built a Beetle.
Okay.
And I thought by the end of the first night there'd be nothing left, but it actually was so successful that I rode that for years, and I think that's where I got my reputation from, was with that car.
Okay.
From there I went to a Datsun for master parts. I rode for them. Then a Sentra, and then eventually Owen Ashley, when he built the supercars, I got one of those and I raced that for a while. And eventually I put a little Astra body, a Corsa body onto that again.
Okay.
And that I raced right up till when Goodwood closed.
Yeah.
Then we went to Killarney on the tar. We raced it there as well.
Right.
And then a few years ago, I packed up with that.
Okay. All right.
In
the sport itself, it's not a cheap sport. It can amount to, if you don't have sponsorship and things like that. Did you manage to get sponsorship, or was this all self-funded?
In the beginning, it was a battle. It was self-funded, but then later on, I got a bit of sponsorship, so that helped a lot.
Okay. Did you only race in the Western Cape? Did you manage to travel around other places?
No, I did a national series as well.
Nice.
With the stock cars and with the main circuit cars.
Wow.
With the Group N and touring cars. That was national. So there was times I actually raced in Cape Town in Joburg the afternoon.
Right.
And flew back and raced at Killarney the evening with the stock cars.
That's amazing. And that must take a lot of planning. Do you have a team behind you? Did you do this, just with you and your family? How does it work?
Man, basically in the beginning I had a chap that helped me, Jan Skuman. He helped me for a good few years, but the rest was my family. They were involved, they helped. They were always at the track. I never had a team as such. It was my children and my wife and this Jan.
And I would imagine that, safety is paramount in a sport like this. What safety measures do you put in place in your vehicles? And, with regards to when you race a particular race, are there certain rules that you have to abide to?
Yes, well, cars are very strong. You're pretty safe. You've got good roll bars. You've got bars supporting across the car for side impact. you've got good safety belts. So generally, you're fairly safe.
Okay. Is there any circuit that stands out for you that you think, you know what, I can't wait to race this circuit when you used to race?
I would say the biggest in the oval track was Cape Hill drivers.
Okay.
Everyone through the country wanted to go there.
And where was that? Which area
That
was
is
that?
Goodwood.
In Goodwood.
Goodwood Showgrounds, yeah.
All right.
That was probably the track to race on.
Right.
But right through the country, I mean, each track has got its own personality, if you want to call it that.
Right, right. How do you find the racing community? Has it evolved over the years?
It's actually not as nice as what it used to be.
Okay.
You know, before everyone was together, helped each other, whereas now it's more each man for himself, which to me is not what
it
I
should
would
be
like.
a community, right?
That's right, yes.
I think obviously time and challenges, you know, over the years.
And the money involved, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think when it comes to that, people start to maybe pull back a little bit as well. But if you look back at your career, Jess, which is such a wonderful story that you have for us, is there anything that stands out that you think maybe I could have did that a bit differently?
I don't know. I think I would do things the same way. I like the way we did it. As I say, as a family, I've always been family orientated.
Okay.
So to me, that is what I like. You know, it must be nice to have a big team, but I was never that fortunate to.
Of course. When you look at some of the guys coming into the sport right now, surely you have some advice for them. Surely you have some, you know, tips that they should just keep in mind.
I would say they've got to learn to lose first.
Okay.
Everyone comes here with the idea they're going to win, and they get disappointed, or they overdrive, and eventually they pack up and they leave. So they must just take it in their stride. That's the way I see it.
Nice.
You know, build yourself up, progress every year, and hopefully you'll get to the top.
Brilliant. Family, you know, you touched on family as well, and they must have taken quite a bit of sacrifice, because the sport can really be demanding at times. Do you have to spend days away from family sometime?
Yes, there was days. Look, if you go do the nationals, I would leave here Wednesday night, drive up to Joburg or wherever again, get the car ready, race, and then leave straight afterwards and come back again.
Right. What's a typical race week like? I mean, take us through. If you, back then you were racing at Killarney, or the Oval for that matter, what was the steps that you would put in place in order to prepare for the race?
Okay, I would try and start straight after the previous race and get the car ready. But the last week, there's always something that you find that you got to change or do or try and improve on. So the last week, you end up spending quite a bit of time on the car and just make sure everything's right.
You were speaking about the community that was maybe built up years ago as well. Surely there's so many wonderful friends that have almost become family members. That's how close you must have become. Anyone that stands out and that you're still very good friends with?
Yes, I've got a lot of friends right through the country.
Brilliant.
You know, and I'll still go and visit them whenever I can. They come to me. That's like Welkom, PE, Boknes. I've got a woman that raced there.
Oh, nice.
Cheryl Wagner. She raced for years. And we became like family.
I would imagine, yeah. And you know, sitting around a campfire or sitting around having a cup of coffee, there must be such wonderful stories that come up that you talk about.
Oh yes, the things you've forgotten about, and they will mention it. You remember what you did to me here or that.
Competition must have been quite heavy. I mean, as much as you're friends.
Oh yes.
When you're on the track,
the
different
enemies,
story. Jess, do you have family that still race? Maybe have the kids taken over or anything like that?
No. I'm the only one in the family. I've got two daughters.
Right.
Look, they helped me before, but they now married and they're both parents now. So
it's a bit difficult for them to race.
So now it's just a friend of myself or two friends of myself that basically do the car now.
I see. Last advice to anyone wanting to get into the sport. What recommendations would you have for them?
Start off with something cheaper. You know, like what I'm in now, Clubmans, something like that, where you can take anything, and it depends on yourself. You start off at the bottom, and depending on lap times, that's where you seed yourself, if you want to put it that way, get into the next class, and you build yourself up from there. So it's not emptying the bank, you know, and you're not pushing yourself to the limits where you can make mistakes and be costly at the end of the day.
legendary motorsport driver, Jess Hugget. It's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you. Thank you so much for affording us your time and shaping the sport of motorsport in our country.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me
My
here.
absolute
And
pleasure.
good luck to anyone that comes on.
Brilliant. There we go. That's Jess chatting to us about the motorsport industry, his wonderful time over the last couple of years. After the break, we review the Renault Clio Zen. Thanks for watching us on Hilaal Live.